It started as a small joke between neighbors. The kind of joke people make when they think they're being helpful or maybe just a little clever. Every Saturday morning, the same woman from the corner house would come back from the grocery store with the same brand of shampoo. A plain white bottle, no glossy packaging. No promises of salon quality shine, no exotic oils or botanical extracts splashed across the label. Just a simple store brand shampoo that cost about $3. Meanwhile, the other women on the block used something very different. Luxury brands, salon products. $45 bottles that promise thicker hair, deeper repair, and advanced formulas designed by cosmetic scientists. When the topic of hair care came up during neighborhood gatherings, the jokes would start. You still using that cheap shampoo? You know there are better products out there, right? One neighbor even joked that the woman's hair probably stayed healthy only because she didn't color it or style it much. But the truth was hard to ignore. Her hair looked incredible, thick, shiny, healthy from root to tip. Not the artificial gloss that sometimes comes from heavy conditioners or silicone coatings. Real shine, the kind of shine that moves naturally when the light hits it. Over time, the quiet teasing became genuine curiosity. What exactly was in that $3 bottle? Eventually, one of the neighbors decided to find out. Her sister happened to work at a dermatology clinic across town. So during a family dinner one evening, she brought up the story. A woman with beautiful hair using a bargain bin shampoo, and a group of friends using expensive salon brands. Her sister laughed at first, but then she said something interesting. Bring me the bottles. The next weekend, the neighbor showed up at the clinic carrying two shampoos. The $3 bottle from the grocery store, and the $45 salon brand everyone else was using. The dermatologist who examined them had spent years studying scalp health and hair follicle biology. To most people, shampoo is just soap for the hair. But to dermatologists, shampoo formulas are carefully engineered chemical systems. Some cleanse gently, others strip oils aggressively. Some leave behind conditioning agents. Others alter the balance of microorganisms living on the scalp. Hair health, it turns out, often begins with scalp health. And the scalp is far more complex than people realize. It contains thousands of hair follicles, sebaceous glands producing natural oils, sweat glands, and a microscopic ecosystem of bacteria and fungi collectively known as the scalp microbiome. When this environment stays balanced, hair grows normally. But when that balance is disrupted, problems can appear: dryness, itching, flaking, inflammation, sometimes even hair thinning. So the dermatologist did what dermatologists do. She flipped the shampoo bottles over and started reading the ingredient lists. The expensive shampoo came first. It contained a long list of ingredients. Some were harmless. Others were there for texture and scent, but a few stood out immediately. Heavy fragrance compounds, multiple conditioning polymers, silicone derivatives designed to coat the hair shaft. Silicones are extremely common in premium shampoos and conditioners. They create the feeling of smoothness many people associate with healthy hair. But silicones don't actually repair hair. Instead, they form a thin film around the hair strand. That film reflects light, creating the illusion of shine. But over time, repeated silicone buildup can weigh hair down. Hair begins to feel greasy faster, volume disappears. And the only way to remove the buildup is often to use a stronger shampoo, which strips natural oils from the scalp. Then the dermatologist looked at the $3 shampoo. The formula was surprisingly simple: a mild cleansing agent, a small number of conditioning ingredients, minimal fragrance, no heavy silicone coatings. And the cleansing agents used in the cheaper shampoo were actually milder than those found in the expensive one. That alone didn't mean the cheaper shampoo was better, but it meant something important: it wasn't aggressively disrupting the scalp environment. The dermatologist explained that many high-end shampoos focus on creating immediate cosmetic results: smoothness, fragrance, foam, but those qualities don't always reflect long-term scalp health. In fact, some products designed to make hair feel luxurious right after washing may gradually disrupt the natural oil balance that keeps hair healthy between washes. Then the dermatologist did something unexpected. She asked the neighbor a question. "How often do you wash your hair?" The answer was simple. Every 2 or 3 days. That detail mattered more than most people realize. When hair is washed daily with strong detergents, the scalp often responds by producing more oil to compensate. This creates the cycle many people know well. Hair gets oily quickly, so they wash it again, which triggers more oil production. But washing less frequently allows the scalp to regulate oil production naturally. Combined with a gentle shampoo, that routine can actually support healthier hair growth over time. Meanwhile, the neighbors using expensive shampoos were washing their hair almost every day, trying to remove the heaviness created by the conditioning agents in their products. Without realizing it, they had created a hair care cycle that worked against them. The dermatologist pointed to the ingredient list again. "You're paying for marketing," she said. The expensive bottle promised advanced repair and luxurious shine, but the core cleansing ingredients were similar to those found in much cheaper formulas. The difference was the extra layers of fragrance, silicone coatings, and cosmetic additives, none of which were necessary for healthy hair. In fact, in some cases, they could make hair more difficult to manage over time, but this wasn't the end of the story. Because after examining both shampoos, the dermatologist decided to test something else. She asked several patients at the clinic to try switching from their usual salon shampoos to gentler formulas for a few weeks. The results surprised even her. Many patients reported less scalp irritation, less dryness, and in some cases, hair that stayed cleaner longer between washes. It turned out the simplest formulas were often the easiest for the scalp to tolerate, and sometimes the most expensive products weren't offering any real advantage at all. In fact, they were occasionally creating problems they claimed to solve. But what the dermatologist discovered next was even more interesting. Because when she analyzed the ingredient lists across multiple shampoo brands, from luxury salon products to budget store brands, a pattern began to emerge. And that pattern revealed something most people never realize when they're standing in the shampoo aisle. The price of a shampoo has almost nothing to do with how healthy it is for your hair. In the next part of this story, we'll explore what dermatologists actually look for in a shampoo formula and why some of the simplest products on store shelves may be the ones your scalp likes best. When the dermatologist finished comparing the 2 shampoo bottles, she did something that most consumers never do. She began analyzing the formulas the way cosmetic chemists do, not by the marketing claims on the front of the bottle, but by the structure of the ingredient list itself. In cosmetics, ingredients are listed in descending order by concentration. That means the first 5 or 6 ingredients usually make up the vast majority of the product. Everything else is present in much smaller amounts. The expensive $45 shampoo looked impressive, the front label. It advertised exotic oils, botanical extracts, and advanced repair complexes. But when the dermatologist studied the ingredient list carefully, she noticed something familiar. Most of those premium-sounding ingredients appeared near the very bottom of the list. In cosmetic chemistry, that often means they are present in extremely small quantities, sometimes less than 1% of the formula. The majority of the shampoo was still made from the same basic building blocks used in almost every shampoo on the market: water, cleansing agents, thickening agents, preservatives, fragrance. In other words, the core formula wasn't radically different from much cheaper products. The difference was largely in the marketing language used to describe it. That realization surprised many people when the dermatologist explained it later. Consumers often assume that higher prices reflect better ingredients. But in the shampoo industry, price is frequently influenced more by branding, packaging, and advertising than by the chemistry inside the bottle. Luxury haircare brands spend enormous amounts of money on marketing, professional salon partnerships, celebrity endorsements, high-end packaging. All of those costs are built into the price of the product. But the base ingredients used to make shampoo are not especially expensive. Even many premium formulas start with surfactants, the cleansing agents that remove oil and dirt from hair. One of the most common surfactants used in shampoo is sodium lauryl sulfate. This ingredient creates foam and effectively removes oils. But it can also strip natural oils from the scalp if used too aggressively. Some premium shampoos replace sulfates with milder surfactants. But even those alternatives are widely available and relatively inexpensive. So why do some shampoos cost 10 times more than others? Part of the answer lies in psychology. Consumers associate luxury packaging and salon branding with higher performance, a sleek bottle, a pleasant fragrance, a luxurious lather. All of these sensory experiences create the feeling that the product is more advanced. But those qualities don't necessarily translate into healthier hair. In fact, dermatologists often emphasize a different priority entirely. Scalp health. Hair itself is technically dead tissue. Once a strand grows out of the follicle, it cannot repair itself the way skin can. That means the true foundation of healthy hair lies beneath the surface, in the scalp. Hair follicles depend on a balanced environment to produce strong hair fibers. Natural oils protect the scalp and hair shaft. Beneficial microorganisms help maintain the scalp's ecosystem. When harsh shampoos disrupt that environment, the effects may appear slowly: dryness, flaking, irritation, breakage, sometimes even hair shedding triggered by scalp inflammation. That's why dermatologists often recommend simpler shampoo formulas for people experiencing scalp sensitivity, gentle cleansers, minimal fragrance, fewer conditioning coatings, products that clean the hair without aggressively altering the scalp environment. And that's exactly what the dermatologist noticed about the $3 shampoo. It wasn't trying to do too much. It cleaned the hair, removed excess oil, and rinsed away without leaving heavy residues behind. The woman using it had unknowingly chosen a formula that worked well with her scalp's natural balance. And because she washed her hair only every few days instead of daily, her scalp had time to regulate oil production naturally. Over time, that routine supported healthy hair growth and natural shine. Meanwhile, her neighbors had fallen into a very common hair care trap: heavy conditioning formulas, daily washing, product buildup, and a cycle of trying new expensive products to solve problems that the products themselves had created. The dermatologist later explained something that many hair professionals already know: healthy hair usually comes from consistent habits rather than expensive products. Gentle cleansing, avoiding excessive heat styling, eating a balanced diet rich in nutrients, managing stress levels, and giving the scalp time to regulate itself naturally. These factors influence hair health far more than the price of the shampoo bottle. In fact, when researchers study hair health across different populations, they often find that the simplest routines produce the most stable results. People who wash their hair moderately, use gentle products, and avoid excessive chemical treatments tend to maintain stronger hair over time. Of course, hair care isn't one size fits all. Different hair types require different approaches. Curly hair often needs more moisture. Fine hair may require lighter formulas to maintain volume. People living in humid climates may need different routines than those in dry environments. But the basic principles remain the same. A healthy scalp supports healthy hair. And the simplest products often interfere with that environment the least. Weeks later, the story about the $3 shampoo became something of a running joke in the neighborhood. But the laughter had changed. Instead of teasing the woman for using a cheap product, the neighbors started asking where she bought it. Some even tried it themselves. A few noticed their hair felt lighter. Others realized they could go longer between washes. And slowly, the idea that expensive hair care products were automatically better began to fade. Because sometimes the most valuable lesson doesn't come from a luxury brand or a marketing campaign. Sometimes it comes from a dermatologist quietly reading an ingredient list and explaining something very simple. The health of your hair doesn't depend on how much you spend on shampoo. It depends on how well that shampoo respects the biology of your scalp. And sometimes the bottle sitting on the bottom shelf of the grocery store might be doing exactly that.